We have to talk about alcohol and gay culture because, listen, to say that we are not affected by it, we are. And it's not about lecturing you to say, hey, like we're drinking too much. It's rather to have a really honest conversation. We're going to talk about sober curiosity because let's just not put this stigma on our community that, like, you know what, if you have a problem, the full abstinence and not drinking is the only way. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about what is a standard drink, what is not a standard drink. Can you have a standard drink at the gay bar or at a bar in general? So all of that, how it affects your community, our community, how it affects your relationship. And more importantly, if you've been thinking about maybe I'm drinking too much or maybe I'm partying too much, this video is really good starting point to actually start thinking about the decisions that you're making in your life. So, if you're new to me, who I am. My name is Eugene Berezin. I am a registered hypnotherapist in the state of Washington. I work with gay men in my private practice across the United States online virtually, with exceptions of few states. So if you would like to work with me, let me know. Book your 15-minute free consultation. My background, I graduated with master's degree in psychology. I worked as a psychotherapist in Musquerush. I worked as a social worker and case manager. So I've been around the block for quite some time in mental health, and I am studying to be a substance use disorder professional because I'm expanding my private practice and adding addiction treatment in addition to hypnotherapy. So, in this video series of how alcohol and substances affect our relationships, so substances, divorce, and relationship, this is all about that because we are affected and in many different ways. So, today we're going to talk about alcohol, sober curiosity, all of that. Now, let me just set the stage. So for us, like a few things that we have to understand as gay men. Number one, gay bars a lot of the time are these safe places for us where gay men can safely mingle and socialize with one another. And as a fact, especially it is the fact in more conservative states and in more conservative countries. And with gay bars, like I can't imagine going to a gay bar and not drink alcohol. Is it possible? Yes. Can it be fun? Yes. This is a part of sober curiosity portion that we're going to talk about later, but it affects us. Also, with that being said, we also are part of marginalized group, and we also are part of people whose identities were devalued. The people with devalue identity, what does it mean devalue identity? Devalue identity is when majority culture looks at you less than. So gay men, gay people, LGBTQAI community are a part of people with devalued identities. Not that your identity is not valuable. It is, it's how majority culture looks at you historically. So we can say that other groups, like for example, Black Americans also come to devalue identities, immigrants, sex workers, even, right? Because we look at them as less than. So, but without going too far into the tangent, how it affects our substance use. So, devalue identities sometimes bring a lot of trauma and a lot of survival. And for some people, traumatic events, they're like kind of alchemized in the more resilience, and people don't have to have a problem with that, and and when it comes to substances, alcohol specifically, people drink because they're having a good time. For others, it is substance is a way to actually escape pain and feel better and regulate ourselves. Whether or not alcohol regulates us and regulates our nervous system, it's a little bit deeper discussion. In a way, it can regulate our nervous system and make us feel better a little bit. And it is a social lubricant. And some people drink alcohol because they sleep better after they drink alcohol, because alcohol is a natural depressant. So, but it also problematic. And aside from health problems, it affects your brain, it affects your liver, it affects your erection. I don't know. Have you ever noticed that when you drink, maybe it's really hard to finish, or maybe it's really hard for you to get hard, or you had an unpleasant sexual experiences after you drink a little bit too much, or maybe you're getting into not necessarily healthy sexual encounters after you drink, I don't know, margarita. You know what I'm saying? That affects people negatively. But also, when it comes to alcohol use, right? So, what is the standard in DSM-5? In DSM-5, we call it alcohol use disorder. We don't necessarily call it alcoholism, and it's a little bit outdated term. We call it alcohol use disorder. So, an alcohol use disorder can be mild, can be moderate, and can be severe. There are a list of questions that we normally ask people to identify where they're at. So, when I do substance use disorder assessment, and it's a rather lengthy process, I'm learning the background, but few things that you can think of right now, like right off the bat. For example, have you ever had a problem of cutting down? So you told yourself, you know what? I'm not partying as much. I'm not drinking as much. And 2 weeks after, or maybe next week, what do you know? You're still partying the same time. And does it have to be, by the way, habitual drinking when you drink every day? Not everybody drinks every day. It's not when you binge drinking several days at a time. So it's more so like, well, that was too much. I'm not gonna do it. I will definitely drink less. Friday night, Saturday night, it's the same story. Now, have you ever engaged in unsafe behavior? Let me give you an example because it is so vague and interpretive. You had few drinks at a gay bar or at a bar, and you feel fine. You're fine, even though the breathalyzer could possibly indicate that you drink, that you it's a little bit over the limit, but you feel fine, you feel safe, and you drive. Nothing bad happened. Listen, nothing bad happened. You drove home safe, and like you park and everything's cool. You did not get in an accident, but it is considered unsafe behavior. Or like you drank a little bit too much, and again, you engage in more risky sexual activity, something that you wouldn't probably do when you're sober. It's like that is a little bit pushing it. It's a little bit pushing it over the limit. Or like blackouts. Have you ever drank so much that you don't remember the night or portions of the night? What happened? That's another thing. Hey, if we're not real what we're going through, then we cannot heal, okay? So it's not to shame anybody. It's just like we are curious about sobriety. We're curious about our alcohol intake. Okay? Okay. And if you were thinking, or maybe you were questioning, you know what? I am drinking too much or I'm partying too much. I will give you my example. My example, okay? So I grew up, I went from one extreme to Another, I never had alcohol use disorder diagnosable. I've never been in recovery. I'm highly functional, over functioning adult. So rather, but I will tell you. So one example, I like to go out, right? And at a time in the past, I noticed that okay, I'm having fun. I'm never too drunk, right? It's always a good time. But then I see I spent $3,000 on just going out and having a drink, and it's not always at the gay bar, right? It's just my favorite restaurants. So that was the point for me. You know what? I should probably cut down on going out, or if I'm going out, maybe I should not drink alcohol. So that was my point of sober curiosity. I had a successful career. I was making six figures. I was fine. Nobody would tell me that I would, nobody would tell me that I wasn't. So I was doing absolutely fine. Like when I got divorced, right? That was probably when I really pushed the limit with alcohol. And I didn't binge drink, but again, this going out, this like, you know what? I'm fine, I'm having fun, but maybe I'm not really had fun. Maybe it was a little bit unhealthy coping mechanism because it does happen. It does happen. And I went to therapy and I addressed that. And it was, again, that was never to the point that it's diagnosable. So alcohol use disorders. So it's like, yeah, but you can cut down, right? Oh, yeah, and I did cut down. I have no problem. I never had a blackout. I never operated my vehicle under influence, as far as I remember. I never, like when you go through the list, my therapist was like, you know what? Yeah, probably a little bit too much, probably not healthy coping mechanism. So we can work on that. So this is an example of sober curiosity. So the others, I went from one extreme where I was not drinking, and because of my religious upbringing, so earlier when I was a part of like a Baptist church, like high control religion, that was rather oh, I'm gay, I'm okay with being gay. I went to therapy, I came out, but I was still a part of that organization, and drinking alcohol was not okay. But I would go out and I would drink water or Red Bull without alcohol, and it was fun, and it's actually it's actually kind of helps me to go out even now when I am not drinking as much or don't go out as much, and that is alternative. And this is something that I provide, or that's something that we work together to understand what a sober curiosity looks for you. So with that said, alcohol also affects negatively relationship, right? So on my side, when I never had a problem, but I told you before from my previous videos that from my family, I was affected negatively from people who were drinking. So, and this is something that I'm noticing in gay couples as well. People have a little bit too much, and it affects their relationship. People might start fighting. Different alcohol can affect you differently. So, with some people, vodka affects them more negatively. They're more combative rather than other liquor, rather other cocktails affects them a little bit better or worse. So, but to help you also understand what is a standard drink or not, I would like to show you the CDC website. So the moderate drink for a man, it is two drinks or less in a day. I would argue probably zero drinks in a day or less in a day for women, and it's one drink or less in a day. What is a standard drink? This is a standard drink, and standard drink people never fully understand what is a standard drink. So 12 ounces of a regular beer, and that equals 8 to 10 ounces of malt liquor or flavored malt beverage such as hard seltzer. So, and if you, what is a malt beverage? This is an example of malt beverage. So, if you need an example, 5 ounces of table wine. And by the way, I think in one bottle of wine there are five glasses of wine, like five standard. I'm sorry, five. I think it is five standard drinks in one bottle of wine. So I will do some research and I will provide it in the description. So, but you can see the stronger the beverage gets, the less and less the amount of alcohol is. So, and to say that when you go to a club or a gay club, they never serve really full standard alcohol drink, right? It's always more. You always, just to keep that in mind, you're always drinking more. Now, let's bring it all together and let's talk about sober curiosity, when sober curiosity is a good option. Now, if you believe that you do have alcohol use disorder, it's problematic. Like, for example, drinking every day, it is quite problematic. Several drinks a day, it is problematic. Even if you drink for dinner, this is problematic. This is probably falls into alcohol use disorder. Then, sober curiosity, that can be an option, but I would rather you to consult with a substance use professional or addiction professional, therapist or certified addiction counselor, who people who are actually really good at helping people with those kind of things. But if you, let's say, you're not binge drinking, you, let's say you see it's really expensive on the wallet that you would like to cut down, just going out and partying, and overall want to have healthier relationship with alcohol, healthier relationship with going out, then sober curiosity, that is a really good choice. How does it look like? It looks like, for every, first of all, understanding it's not like just okay, we're partying less, we're drinking for a reason. And this is why at the beginning of the video, I brought up marginalized and devalue identity, because we all carry trauma and we all coping with trauma, coping with difficult situations and difficult feelings, strong feelings, or one way or another. That is a fact. So understanding what function alcohol plays in your life and how you can act differently, how you can gain that function in a more healthy way, because everything has a function. Everything has you're going out, you're drinking has a function. Your loved one who is drinking and who is maybe even causing you harm, and has a function for them and for your relationship as well. You might be thinking, like, what function? It's this function. It has a function because we function as a family, and family is a system. And in a system, each system will always strive to homeostasis, to stay the same. And drinking sometimes plays a role. So, but understanding, first of all, what function alcohol is doing in our life, this is essential. This is the first step. Step number one, step number two, understand what healthy and acceptable amount of alcohol you can drink in a period of time. For me, it is going out, for example, 2 times a month, not every week, 2 times a month, sometimes once a month, when it is for you. Also, amount of alcohol that I'm consuming. For me, it is one, maximum two cocktails. Twice a month, one or two cocktails, no more. And I do not drive. I don't make it convenient. And I live in the city. I can literally walk to a gay bar if I want to, like literally 15-minute walk. So, but this is my stipulation for my husband because he is on his fast. He calls it fast. He doesn't drink at all because for him, it affects him differently, negatively, and affects him, his health, our relationship, like all of that. So he doesn't drink at all. And he goes out with his friends, he doesn't drink. Another question: how do you act when you hang out with your friends? For him, he orders mocktails and non-alcoholic beer. For me, like if I go out, I just drink one cocktail, and if I'm with my husband, one cocktail, maximum two. And also, like I will always ask, it is okay if I order a drink or two. So for you, it may be different. And when I decided to offer a new service and invite people for sober curiosity. Now, it is not an addiction treatment. It is not an addiction treatment. It's sober curiosity coaching guidance. Now, I am pursuing my addiction counselor credential. I can provide you addiction counseling yet. It is not an addiction counseling, it is coaching. Now, I like if you ever had binge drinking problem in like if you did believe that you have alcohol use disorder in any capacity, you best to consult with a licensed or certified professional who is specialized in that. I am not a good option for you. But if you're thinking about, well, I'm not an alcoholic, we're not using this term, alcohol use disorder. I'm not okay, but I just would like to party less. Or like maybe you're listening to this episode or you're watching this and you think, you know what? I'm really curious about sober curiosity. I would like to, I would like to be more sober. This is for me. So what works. So we have a free consultation. I want to make sure that you are not like it is not like diagnosable substance use disorder. Important. This is important. Now and then 8 appointments, 8 sessions. We work together understanding why you drink. And it is more so like coaching and developing skill set that you actually need. And I'm registered hypnotherapist in the state of Washington. And I can work with people across the United States virtually. And the hypnosis is not to hypnotize you for not drinking. I want to make it crystal clear. Clinical hypnosis doesn't work like that. Hypnotherapy and clinical hypnosis that I'm using, and is more so for you to go within and really bypass your critical mind and rather like to have insights about you and what it looks like for you to be sober curious and what and why you want to be sober curious. What is your motivation? And for that, we're using motivational interviewing. Evidence-based approach works wonderfully for coaching, for sober curiosity. And we bring it all together. And also, we're using clinical hypnosis, clinical hypnotherapy to strengthen the decision that you made. And it's not to hypnotize you, not to drink, as empower you, as to make you more strong, as to make you more efficient, as to make you more confident, as to make you more whole and heal, not to force or hypnotize you or make you do something that you don't want to do. This is paramount for successful work together. So how can you work with me? You can book a 15-minute consultation call And then you can, if it is a right fit, you can start working with me. All the information, by the way, I just provided. So I just updated my website. Go to my website, book a consultation from my website, read about me, read about my background, read about my educational background, because the therapy itself doesn't work unless you have really good relationship with your provider, with a hypnotherapist. And we're not doing just clinical hypnotherapy, we're doing strategic sober curiosity coaching, strategic coaching and skill set development. And clinical hypnotherapy is a component that glues it all together and empowers you. So all the information is in the description for this video. And come to my next episode, because next time we're going to talk about crystal meth. Is it problematic? How it affects your brain is going to be super interesting. And also, if you're thinking about, I don't have a problem, I only do it when I having fun with other guys, when I party a little bit, but I don't do it like regularly. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So come next time for next episode. I love you so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.